We are together here at the Indo-Russian Writers' Meet. From Russia, we have with us writers, Ms. Anastasia Stokina, Mr. Amarsana Ulzayev, Ms. Zarina Kanukova, along with First Secretary Culture, Russian Embassy, Ms. Yulia Arayeva, and Daria Kozina, Coordinator, Institute of Translation, Russia, and writers from India, Professor Abhay Mauryaji, Dr. Anamikaji, and Professor Divik Rameshji. At the outset, I request Dr. K. Srinivas Rao, Secretary, Sahitya Akademi, to welcome Ms. Anastasia Stokina, offering Angavastram and Sahitya Akademi proclamations. I request Secretary Mr. Amarsana Ulzayev and Ms. Zarina Kanukova. Ms. Anastasia Stokina, I'm sorry. Now I request Dr. K. Srinivas Rao to welcome First Secretary Culture, Russian Embassy, Yulia Arayeva. Sir, please also welcome Daria Kozina, Coordinator, Institute of Translation, Russia. Writers from India, Professor Abhay Mauryaji. Dr. Anamikaji. And Professor Divik Rameshji. Now I request Secretary Dr. K. Srinivas Rao to please deliver with the matters.
Namaskaram and good evening to all of you. Ms. Anasya Chokina, Mr. Amarsana Buljit, Ms. Jerina Kankova, and the First Secretary, Embassy of Russian Federation in India, Yulia Areva, also the Coordinator Projects of Institute of Translation from Russia, Ms. Daria Kuzina, and also the Indian side, Professor Abhay Mauryaji, Professor Divik Rameshji, Professor Anamikaji, and the whole event coordinator, Professor Sonu Saini from Jawaharlal Nehru University, and all the Indian writers who are assembled here, and the honorable friends of Sahitya Akademi. I am glad to welcome all of you for this edition of Indo-Russian Writers Meet. Friends, India is the hotbed of oral traditions and tribal literature. Numerous linguistic traditions and a long history of oral literature, even among the mainstream languages, makes India a very rich and diverse country of oral traditions, tribal literature and folklore. Not very well known, Russia also has a long oral and folk traditions from the ancient Slavic mythology to modern period. Interestingly, it is oral traditions that shape the psyche of the people of these two great nations with a hoary past and numerous traditions. It is this aspect of oral traditions of these two countries remain unexplored to a large extent. Even during the 20th century revolution, Russian folklore had a purpose: the destruction of the old way of life and the building of communism. That brings to my mind the immortal poem by Tamil poet Subramanya Bharati, wherein he attributes the emergence of Russian Revolution to the glaze that the goddess Parashakti cast on Soviet Union. Almost all the classics of modern Russian literature has been translated into many Indian languages, and many writers who grew up between 1950s to 1980s were all well acquainted with the vast Russian literature, and in the same way, many classics of India are also available in Russian language. In 2020, Sahitya Akademi translated and published 10 modern Indian classics into Russian as part of SEO Summit, and for which extremely outstanding services were given to the Sahitya Akademi by Professor Abhay Mauryaji and also Sonu. And also we are fortunate to have amongst us Madam Thakurji, who has made a wonderful documentary on it, which we have shown to Prime Minister. And we would like to do more and more as and when the opportunity arises. Sahitya Akademi will translate and publish Indian literary works into Russian. Regarding the oral and tribal literature, Sahitya Akademi has been striving since its inception to preserve and propagate oral and tribal literature in India, and has dedicated centers for this purpose. It also publishes books on the subject and promotes cultural activities of the tribals through an event that we call it is the Loka, the Many Voices, in all of its major programs. It will be wonderful to have the Russian folk tales, folk songs and other books on Russian folklore into many Indian languages. Such a measure will enhance the awareness among Indians about the vastness and richness of Russian literature. As it is a translational activities and technology have reduced the geographical distances between various centers across the world, the cultural exchange meets of this nature, bringing together writers from two different countries, will improve the cultural and literary connections. Only when can one talk confidently about the universality of human life, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world as one family and country. With these few words, I am glad to welcome all of you for this cultural exchange program between India and Russian writers once again. Thank you.
I'll just give a gist of what the Secretary Sir said in Russian for our colleagues who could not understand English. Коллеги, уважаемые коллеги, дорогие друзья, я рад вас видеть сегодня здесь и приветствую вас всех в наше сегодняшнее мероприятие. Как вы знаете, что устная литература имеет очень такой богатый опыт, богатые традиции в России и в Индии также. То есть устная литература идет и где-нибудь нас связывает между нами, то есть наши предки были где-то одни. И которые потом развиваться, потом у нас были такие очень плодотворные отношения, и даже развитие коммунизма также пришло из Советского Союза, и такие другие такие идеи тоже пришли из Советского Союза. Разные классические индийские и русские произведения перевели, то есть индийские произведения на русский и русские произведения на индийские языки. Недавно у нас был такой большой проект, когда мы перевели 10 книг с индийских языков на русский, которые на самом деле курировал профессор Абайморя, и вместе с ним был Сону Сейни. И это у нас был уникальный опыт, и здесь есть дама, которая создала фильм по нему, который мы показали нашему уважаемому премьер-министру. Есть, конечно, здесь и разные другие институты, другие организации, которые занимаются в сфере устной литературы. Это было бы очень здорово и очень плодотворно, если мы и продолжали, и дальше тоже перевели народную литературу на индийские языки, то есть индийскую народную литературу на русский. Как так, вы знаете, что технология уже сократила место и расстояние между странами, поэтому и даже помогает в развитии отношений между Индией и Россией. Так как вы знаете, что в Индии очень так поговорка на санскрит «Васудева Кутумкам», то есть как сильный мир один, поэтому мы стараемся, чтобы развивать наши связи и с другими странами, и с Россией. С этими словами хотел бы вас еще поблагодарить, что вы здесь. Спасибо большое.
The books what we translated we have displayed. Later they can see.
Книги, которые мы перевели, они здесь на столе. Вы можете, конечно, потом посмотреть, поглянуть, то, что переведено на русский язык.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Sonuji, for initiating all others into Russian. Thanks a lot. In the session for literary readings now, may I first invite Mr. Amarsana Olzaytuyev to read out from his writings. He is a noted poet and translator. His poem Hiran Geet was published in 1982, and since then he has many published poems in reputed Russian magazines. He has several published poetry collections to his credit, and many of his poems have been translated into English, Latvian, Mongolian, Vietnamese, Spanish, Belarusi, and several other foreign languages. He has written a detailed article about finite and infinite of Russian poetry. Mr. Amarsana Olzaytuyev.
Добрый вечер, дамы и господа. Очень приятно именно в Индии наконец оказаться. Для меня это огромное счастье, потому что я из Бурятии, Бурятия у нас это регион России, где исповедуют буддизм, а Будда родился в Индии.
Спасибо, коллеги, и Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. It's great to be here, and I'm glad to be here to bring as a representative of Buryat region. Buryat region is one of the regions in Russia where even Buddhism is already like in a very developed form.
И через буддизм мы, поскольку Будда опирался на индийскую философию, поскольку он был индиец, соответственно, мы приобщились с раннего детства, приобщаемся к великой индийской культуре, индийской философии.
Through Buddhism, we got to know a lot about Indian philosophy, and since childhood we have been studying the great Indian literature and great Indian philosophy.
Еще в 3 классе мне мама с библиотеки, с полки библиотеки моего отца достала Панчатанту. И я с детства уже знал сказки, индийские сказки через Панчатанту.
When I was in 3rd class, my mummy gave me a book from the collection and library of my father. It was this book called Panchtantra, and that I just got acquainted in my childhood.
И уже в классе 7-8, вернее 6 классе, мне мама достала среди других поэтов, значит, книгу великого бенгальского поэта Rabindra Тагора. И я уже в 6 классе знал стихи Rabindra Тагора и вдохновлялся этими стихами.
When I was in 7th or 8th class, my mummy gave me another very great book. It was a book of great poet, Bengali poet Rabindra Tagore. It was a collection of poem, and I started reading those poems, and even today also I remember such poems.
Уже на 1-м курсе литературного института с полки отца я сам уже достал Адхарваведу, и я был очарован великими гимнами именно из этой замечательной книги индийских гимнов священных.
When I was in 1st year of my college, which is called Literary Institute, then I got to know a lot about Indian traditions, Indian poetry in like Arthaveda and other such details about Indian literature and Indian culture.
Конечно же, уже дальше мое погружение в Индию шло, значит, по пути, по которому любой интеллектуальный, любой интеллигент в СССР тогда, интеллектуал, стремился знать, да, вот в первую очередь это вот йогу, да, индийскую йогу, и мы все увлекались этой йогой.
Further, my interest rose like it was all growing into the Indian literature and Indian culture, and my interest was more even as like others intellectuals during the Soviet Union as well wished to know about India. So my interest also developed more into this area.
Да, и заканчивая скажу, что мы уже Рамаян, Махабхарату и так далее, то есть Бхагавад-гиту, значит, великих индийских философов, значит, Рамакришну, учителя Вивекананды, самого Вивекананду, и, значит, Махатма Ганди и так далее. То есть это целый, значит, можно до вечера перечислять список индийских философов, которые мы в обязательном порядке старались прочитать и знать.
In conclusion, I would like to say that we have read and we have studied various Indian philosophers, like we have already read Ramayana, Mahabharata, and great Indian philosophers such as Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, and the list is very long, and I think if we continue, we may finish by night. So we love and we read Indian philosophy a lot.
Поэтому я вам с удовольствием прочитаю стихотворение из поэмы который я написал под названием «В Индию духа купить билет».
That's why allow me to read my poem which I wrote dedicated to India and which has the title Ticket to India to Spirituality.
Брахман.
It's Brahmana.
Да, отрывки, да. Всю поэму читать не буду.
Okay, просто чтобы я прочитал сначала на английском, чтобы они понимали, о чем идет речь.
Я не знаю, как он может быть стариком сначала.
Отрывки учитайте на русском, чтобы не чувствовали язык.
Да. Окей. Да, я хотел бы добавить, что я сам по национальности бурят, у нас 280 национальностей в России, но я пишу стихи на русском, мой отец писал на бурятском классик литературы, а я пишу на русском, но у меня они и на бурятском, эти стихи, ну посмотрим, если останется время, на бурятском языке могу тоже демонстрировать.
I would just like to add that I am from the Buryat region, so as per my nationality, I am Buryat, from the Buryat region, and my father used to write in Buryat language, but I write in Russian. But however, my poetry is also, poems are also translated into Buryat language. But if you get some time later on, then I will try to read in Buryat as well.
Нет пути к Брахме, нет, небо его не найти, нежной бездны его, очи ласки его, нем и холоден вечности лик, нет числа путь к нему, нищих сердец, летящих к нему, не весь куда, неизвестно кому, непонятно зачем, негде усталому в космосе вечном голову преклонить.
So I'll just read the translation. There is no path to the Brahman, none. His sky is nowhere to be found. His gentle abyss, his eyes kindness. The face of eternity is silent and cold. Not numbering those searching for a path to him. Hearts flying towards him are uncountable. A misery whereto unknowable wins. The purpose inscrutable. Now, nowhere for a man in the endless cosmos to rest his weary head.
Нет конца ему и начала, нет ни верха, ни низа, только лишь звездная пыль, непонятно зачем, то ли начало всему, то ли конец. Мириады галактик, бутоны свои распуская, мир за миром творя, в никуда ниоткуда летят. Грешная жизнь за жизнью бурлит, толкаясь, шкварча, трепыхаясь, греясь на солнцах несчастливых планет. Смысл всего это смыслы, созданные словно солнца. Смерть всего это смерти, потерявший смысл, осуществляя смыслы, зиждется жизнь за жизнью, освобождая космос, побеждается смерть. Нет пути к Брахме, нет, смертным заказан путь. Дай же хотя бы росинку бессмертия. Джай Гурудева Ом.
Now the English translation of the next part. There is no end to it, none. There is no topmost. there is no bottommost, only the stardust for no fathomable reason, either the genesis of all or the collapses. The birds of the myriad galaxies unfolding create, world upon world, flying from one nowhere into another nowhere. Sinful life upon life seeds, elbowing, crumbling, fluttering, warming itself in the sunlight of countless planets. The meaning of everything are meaning created like suns. The death of everything are deaths that have lost their meaning. Realizing meaningless, life upon life finds foundation in liberating the cosmos, the death be overcome. There is no path to the Brahman, none. The road to you, for us mortal, inaccessible. Grant us, oh, the tiniest of dew drops of immortality. Jai Gurudeva Om.
It is not in terms of caste, it is Brahma.
It's Brahma, it's Brahma.
That's called Brahma, sir. That's what
Yes.
it's asking you to pronounce it as Brahma. The
Brahma.
supreme unseen reality.
It's a
Brahma
Brahma.
only दुनिया confuse हो सकते
They
हैं.
will pronounce it their own way. So
This is Sonaji. Sonaji.
Brahma, it's a Brahma.
Слон селеноподобный купается в мутной от реке. Я не сильно громко читаю, а?
Is it not too loud?
Нормально?
Is it not too loud? Is it fine?
Потому что я буду камерно читать.
So I just try to be a bit.
Слон селеноподобный купается в мутной от реке. Словно самое первое слово в начале времен. Весь коричнево-бурый, местами похожий на землю в безвидной воде. Весел в воде колыхается, хоботом плещет, играется, следом погонщик на древнем наречии что-то кричит. Слезь со слона не успевшей туристки, как раз из России, или задумано так, чтобы с радостным визгом, сидя на холке могучей, ила и мутной библейской воды, нахлебавшись, выныривать.
The next poem is called Bathing the Elephant. The elephant, image of the universe, bathing in a river clouded with weeds, as though the very first word in the beginning of time, brown and tan all over, at times resembling even earth in transparent water, happily having about in the water, spraying with his trunks playfully. In his wake on the ancient shore, the handler screaming something. To the woman tourist who tarried to get off the elephant, she is from Russia, or was it planned this way, with thrilled whole, sitting atop the mighty hillock, having swallowed silt and the biblical waters to dive down.
Погонщик простой, вселенноподобного слова. Понял я смысл исполинский слона. Пусть тебя искупает Россия, могучее древнее слово, солнцеволосой воде. Путь ведь обратно не близкий, вечность. Погонщик простой, божественно окое слово, купаю весь до подобных брызгах миров, словно самое первое слово, огромное, вечное слово, купаю.
The handler handlers a simpler man. The handlers a simple man, the word image of the universe. I understood the gargantuan meaning of the elephant. May you be rinsed in sun-brimming waters, you ancient mighty word, Russia. For the way back is not a short one. Eternity, the handler is simpler man, the divine-eyed word bathed, all splattered in the antediluvian splashes of worlds. Like the very first word, enormous, eternal, the word bathed.
Thank you, Mr. Amar Samaji. We now invite Ms. Zarina Kanukol to share her views as well as read out from her recent writings.
Теперь просим Зарина Канукольевича, чтобы рассказали немножко ваши мысли и потом прочитали стихотворение.
Рада приветствовать всех. Моя семья, мои родные очень рады, что я посетила.
I'm glad to welcome you all. I am and my family is very glad to know that I am here in India.
Для меня и для моих родных это счастье посетить такую добрую, такую величественную страну.
For me and for my relatives and family, it's a great honor for my presence over here amongst the such kind people, such friendly people of India.
Здесь, на книжном фестивале, у меня две задачи. Первая задача – рассказать о том, что в России проживает 280 национальностей. Существует письменных языков 177, и из этих народов в настоящий момент пишут художественные тексты 60 народов. Создаются литературные произведения 60 народов Российской Федерации.
My presence here has two tasks: to tell all the readers, all people of India, that Russia has a vast, nationalities or type or people, like 280 nationalities and 177 languages in which people are writing, and more than 60. Like at present, 60 various type of nationalities, people from various nationalities are writing their works in the form of literature.
И я представляю проект, в котором я участвую уже 5 лет. Это проект по поддержке национальных литератур народов России.
I'm a representative of a project in which I am participating for last 5 years, and which is a part of national project support for various languages.
Благодаря этому проекту
Thanks to this project,
выпущено 5 томов антологии национальных литератур народов России. Это поэзия.
Thanks to this project, recently a 5-volume of anthology has come out based on national literature.
Это поэзия, проза, драматургия, детская литература и народная мудрость.
It's prose, poetry, children literature, and various other forms of literature of Russia.
К сожалению, я не смогла их принести, но они выглядят очень мощно. Вот такой величины каждая книга.
Unfortunately, I could not bring it here because they are very fat, they are very thick. It's something like this. One volume is having this kind of size.
Я приглашаю вас на книжную ярмарку на российском стенде, они занимают почетное место.
I would like to invite you all to the New Delhi Book Fair. There, like you can see and have a glance of these volumes.
Для таких писателей, как я сама родилась не в Москве, мой родной язык черкесский, адыгский. Для таких писателей, как я, данный проект расширяет аудиторию, потому что нас переводят на русский язык.
For many such writers who have not born and brought up in Moscow, so you know that such as like my mother tongue is Cherkesski, Adyeski, and having chance to be here, it widens our scope as like our work are being translated in various languages.
Я родилась в городе Нарчик, это республика Кавказского. Это такой небольшой регион России, наверное, вы слышали, самая высочайшая точка Европы Эльбрус, вот эта гора, эта вершина находится на территории нашей республики.
I was born in the very small town called Narchik, which is near to Bulgaria, and maybe it's near to Europe, and maybe you have heard about Elbrus mountain, which is very famous, that is also in our region.
Благодаря проекту, о котором я сказала, у меня появилось очень много друзей, писателей, поэтов. Мы говорим на разных языках. Я думаю, в Индии вы нас поймете очень хорошо, почему нас волнует сохранение родных языков, потому что Индия тоже многонациональное государство.
Thanks to the project, I got acquainted and with many poets and writers of various languages, and I am very happy to say that that what we are trying to save or preserve our mother tongue, and as Indians you can also understand what this means to save and preserve our mother tongues, as like India also has various languages in various regions.
Мой язык входит от абхазского языковую семью, и у моего языка нет других родственников, кроме абхазского. Мы очень одиноки в этом большом мире, и, к сожалению, мой родной язык, также мы его называем черкесский, нас в мире знают как черкесов, к сожалению, наш язык входит в список исчезающих языков.
My language in Abkhazki, we are very few people left who speak in this particular language and who know this particular language, and we are called as like Cherkesski, Cherkov, and unfortunately our language is in the list of endangered languages of Russia.
Я как журналист работаю, пишу на русском языке. Я редактор женского издания «Горянка». Но я решила, что пока я живу и творю, я буду писать художественные тексты только на одном языке. Горянка.
I work as a journalist for a Russian women journal, Garyanka, which means from Pahadan, जिसे हिंदी में कहेंगे, and I'll be writing, I'll be writing in my own literature, which represent my area, my language. That is my wish to continue with this.
Я очень люблю народы нашей Сибири, например, бурятов, якутов. Я знаю многих представителей тюркских языков, например, татары занимают в России значительное место, и татарская литература очень богатая. Но я всегда также думаю, переживаю за языки, чьих носителей очень мало.
I like people from various other regions, like as from Siberia, from Riyadh, Yakutov, and I would like to say that there are various other regions who are very rich in literature, like Tataristan or Tatars literature is very rich, and they have very rich literature.
Есть такие народы, которые насчитывают носителей языка не более 500 и даже 50.
There are many people, there are many groups of people where their mother tongue or the speakers of such languages are less than maybe 500 or 50 even.
Что касается моего родного языка черкесского, то на территории России носителями являются около 700 тысяч.
If I talk about my own mother tongue, which is Cherkesski, there are about 700 speakers left in this area.
На территории Турции, Сирии и других государств проживают наши соотечественники, но, к сожалению, они утрачивают язык. Они оказались на чужбине более 150 лет назад.
If you talk about our relatives, like they have settled down in various other regions, like as Turkey and other countries, and that they have been living there for more than 150 years. So that's why like they are not using this language, and because of this, our mother tongue is dying.
К сожалению, землетрясение, которое произошло в Турции, оно коснулось и моих современников, они там проживали в большом количестве, и, к сожалению, есть погибшие, и, находясь здесь, они перестают о них думать.
Unfortunately, the recent earthquake in Turkey, they took life of some of our relatives, and many of them suffered, and many of them died. And of course, like being here, I cannot stop myself to recall them.
Память о тех, кто был у нас, жил и творил, и надеялся на то, что у моего народа будет будущее, и заботясь о тех, кто идет вслед за нами, я бы хотела прочитать имена.
In memory of my people, like who lived with us, and with recalling my people over here, I would like to now read some poems from my collection.
Я, например, у Сони сразу спросила, ты родился где? Он родился, оказывается, в Дели, а я родилась в селе. И я прекрасно понимаю, что для таких народов, как наш, сохранить язык более возможно в сельской местности.
When I was coming with Sonu, I asked like where he was born, and he said that he was born in Delhi, and I was born in a very small town. So for us, like I can understand, and that many people can understand that how this question of preserving the mother tongue is important.
У меня есть книги и на родном языке, и на русском переведенные книги. Я автор 9 книг, и одна из них мне очень дорога, она называется «Английские языки».
I have written this collection. I have written more than 9 books, and this particular book is my favorite, which is written in my mother tongue and as well as translated into Russian, and which is called Adige, the town of Adigsky.
Нас в мире знают как черкесы, но наше самоназвание Адыги.
People know with the name of Cherkess, but we call ourselves like as Adigsky.
Есть стихотворение, которое я прочитаю, посвящено селу, где сохраняется язык, и это моя молитва, чтобы сохранилось наше село и наш язык.
The poem which I am going to read is about my town, which tells like where like we preserve our language, and it is like a kind of representation of my prayer, so that my town and my mother tongue preserved.
Ой, Боже хан, вашата лафа, вагоши пруждя, за наш подыха мяжа хлысши. Жила ваша полусеха зарожа, чтобы какие-то шваха вхожа, шахаба баха, я вата шафу, шифы жмреха мяхяб жафу. Нахушеника, хоушедана, адрасаша, ханван.
It was in Adexki language.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.
Sonu has not learned as yet.
Adexki I could not learn, unfortunately. Maybe next time.
Thank you, Mrs.
Спасибо, Зарина.
Now I invite Ms. Anastasia Stokin.
Теперь прошу, Анастасия.
She is a noted children writer as well as poet and translator. She is the member of Moscow Writers Association and Dutch Sahitya Akademi. She has 9 published books to her credit, and the translations of many of her works have been published in different Russian and foreign magazines. Her works have been, she has written biography of famous Russian musician Tchaikovsky. She is the recipient of Solomon Apt Memorial Puraskar of Videshi Sahitya Magazine of Russia, Kniguru Puraskar, Vladimir Arsenev Sudur Purva Puraskar, and Vladislav Kapivin International Bala Sahitya Puraskar. Welcome, Anastasia.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It's a great honor for me to be here with you. And I'm looking forward to listening to your poems, to your words. That's a great pleasure for all of us. There are not so many cultures in the world that could be called world cultures, and among them is the Russian culture and the Indian culture. I'm pretty sure that the interest for the Indian culture is growing, especially in Russia. For example, I personally know some guys who have decided to become Sikhs, and they moved to India, so trying to find themselves in this way. I'm not so keen on Indian culture as Amar Sana, but I also have read Indian folk stories, and of course Rabindra. That was the author my translation work began with. That was the first poet I tried to translate from English to Russian when I was about 7-8 years old. And since then, I'm grateful to Rabindra that he gave me this interest to the Indian culture and to the Indian spirit, I would say. I don't want to talk too much because I suppose we're all a bit tired. And as I said, I'm looking forward to listening to you. And that's why I'm going to read just a few poems of mine, translated by American poet and translator Christian Teresi. First, tooth. I remember how the first milk tooth fell out. The delicate skin of pink child's gums. Blood in the corner of the lips called from fear. I was 6 and I said, 8. I hastened time, but for what? There will be a lot of time and teeth, probably too. It will be. It all will be. In the evening, a movie at the old theater and fruit ice cream no longer bought by the nursery rhyme wizard who flew away in a blue helicopter. I will be naive, will grow with reluctance, will rush home and forget about sleep, will raise children, wear dresses in fashion and not in fashion. I will find that. I will love, forgive and hurt, and it seems everything is fine. But time, how unfortunately, pulls out my first tooth. My old age, hello. The delicate skin of pink crumbling gums. I study the void with my tongue, and again I will be 6, and again I say 8. Am not I talking too fast? Maybe I will read it in Russian, just to feel the language for you. That's the only poem I will read in Russian. Первый зуб. Actually, I don't know why the translator has chosen this very poem, but that's his choice. I probably would translate something other. Помню, как выпал первый молочный зуб. Нежная кожица розовых детских десен. Кровь в уголке холодных от страха губ. Мне было 6, а я говорила 8. Я торопила время. Да что оно? Времени будет много, зубов, наверное, тоже. Будет, все будет. По вечерам кино, старенькой родине и фруктовым мороженым. Будет меня угощать не волшебник. Он улетел к себе. В голубом вертолете буду наивничать, буду взрослеть с неохотой, буду спешить домой, забывать про сон, буду детей растить, платье носить по моде. И не по моде, так, первое, что найду, буду любить, прощать и обижать, и вроде все хорошо, но время, как на беду, вырвет мне первый зуб. Старость моя, здорова, нежная кожица розовых и рыхлых десен и языком пустоту изучу, и снова мне будет 6. И снова скажу, что 8. Last one. The tuner. I also play piano and cello. That's a great part of my life. This poem is dedicated to the tuner who came to me when my piano was had some kind of disaster. And it's very expensive. If you have ever run into this problem, it's very expensive to change strings on piano, and the poem is dedicated to this. It happens like in a prayer, in the mazurka, you drop, hairpins let go. Let them fly with God. He arrives to repair my black Rönisch. He keeps silent, as if he keeps silent about a lot of things. And then, calmly this weariness of strings, and no way to repair them, and nothing remains, only change. Nevertheless, change strings, I say, but it is the same as to change memory. And in the head it sounds and sounds again the familiar mazurka step, syncopation percolating within. And somebody from the past whispers in my ear, simply change, change, don't be afraid. And 1, 2, 3. Thank you for your attention. I'd like to say from the part of all of us that it's really a great honor for us to be here, and we will be happy to listen to your language, and it will stay with us for a long time, maybe forever, I don't know. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anastasia, Marsana, and Zari, and Sonuji as well. Now getting to the second segment of this session, we have with us writers from India, Dr. Anamikaji, Professor Abhay Mauryaji, and Professor Divik Rameshji. Allow me to invite first Dr. Anamikaji, who is an eminent Hindi poet and has more than 30 published books to her credit in different genres, like poetry, short story, novel, criticism, and edited and translated books as well. Many of her articles appeared in different books and anthologies. She also translated the works of many distinguished writers like Octavio Paz, Rabindra Tagore, Les Murray into Hindi. She is the recipient of innumerable awards, including the Sahitya Akademi Award, Rashtra Bhasha Parishad Award, Senior Fellowship, Ministry of Culture, Bharat Bhushan Award, Bharat Hindu Samman, Firak Samman, Sahityakar Samman, Kedar Samman, Mahadevi Varma Puraskar, and many others. Hearty welcome, Dr. Anamika.
Thank you so much. I was wondering whether I should read the English rendering or the original. And I thought I was born on Russian classics, and I'll first read aloud to welcome you. In my part of the world, the act of sulking is called root jhana. Okay? And through a play of inflection, in my dialect, root jhana becomes roos jhana.
Wow.
Where do women go when they sulk? They go to roos. Humankind cannot be a very much reality, you know. So turning their back on the world, to the land of Russian classics they go. Russian classics they had met like first love right in their teens. All the way these classics went to the suburbs. As you said, most of us are from suburbs, small towns, to hug them deep. Sometimes they traveled on the wings of penguin, the strange bird which ran a publication. Well, bird classics in translation. Anna Akhmatova I met 14 years after her death and wondered if she could be one of us. The suburban women from Muzaffarpur, out of place and out of time. These suburban women at Muzaffarpur lived in a limbo, as it were, full of anecdotes and riddles, strange stories, witty folklores. Women around me were so different and yet so alike. These little great women from the suburb who had nothing to spend and nowhere to go. So exhausted were they that they completed today's thought tomorrow. And wiping, swapping, grinding, binding, they would sing unending songs in a chorus. In the songs, one lost line held hand of another. So would the three sisters, as would the three sisters who had not yet seen Moscow. From nowhere they came, and to nowhere did they go. In Hindi translation, from People's Publication, they had already met women larger than life, these sisters of their soul. Anna Karenina, the lady with the dog, and the golden-hearted Sonia. Though there was no room in their lives to go far, They spread their arms, one in the sun, another in the mist. And now, when they rolled chapatis, this is the way we roll chapatis, they would know they were ruling the earth. In this unique moment, the sacred muhurta, as we call it in Sanskrit, of the horizon fusing, they gave birth to words flowing in accord with the contractual rhythms of labor. Now when they spoke, strange voices arose from the depths of their bodies and from the recesses of their lungs, like water, gurgling beneath the ground. Jao wahan na jaane kahan, lao use na jaane kise. This is a line from a Russian folk tale. Go there, know not where, fetch that, know not what. To peasants who couldn't pay the levy on time, they would hear Tsar Nikolai say, and the eternal peasant in women got up. And on they went till they reached Rus, a never line. At the point in Hindi, this will shape for a sound that you can carry on. नमक नमक दुख है धरती का और उसका स्वाद भी। धरती का 3 भाग नमकीन पानी है और आदमी का दिल नमक का पहाड़ है। कमजोर है दिल नमक का, कितनी जल्दी पसीज जाता है, डर जाता है शर्म से जब फेंकी जाती है थालियां दाल में नमक कम या जरा तेज होने पर। वो जो खड़े हैं ना सरकारी दफ्तर, शाही नमकदार है, बड़ी नफासत से छिड़क देते हैं हरदम हमारे जले पर। उनके चेहरे पर नमक है, पूछिए उन औरतों से कितना भारी पड़ता है उनको उनके चेहरे का नमक। जिन्हें नमक की कीमत करनी होती है अदा, उन नमक हलालों से रंज लगता है महासागर। दुनिया में होने न दी उन्होंने क्रांतियां, रहम खा गए दुश्मनों पर। गांधी जी जानते थे नमक की कीमत और अमृतों वाली दुनिया में कुछ और रहे न रहे, रहेगा नमक, ईश्वर के आंसू और आदमी का पसीना। यही वो नमक है कि जिससे हिदाई रहेगी ये दुनिया।
Thank you, Dr. Anamikaji, for those beautiful ones. Let us now invite Professor Divik Rameshji, eminent Hindi poet, translator, and he writes for children too. His major works include 10 books of poetry, a verse play, and 6 books of research and essays. About 45 books of poetry, stories, and drama for children, besides his edited and translated books. His works have been translated in almost all the Indian languages and in Korean, Russian, and English. He has been the principal in Motilal Nehru College, University of Delhi, and visiting professor of Hindi at Hankook University of Foreign Studies, Seoul, Korea. He has been honored with a number of national and international awards, including Soviet Land Nehru Puraskar, Sahitya Akademi's Bal Sahitya Puraskar, Girija Kumar Mathur Award, NCERT's National Children Award, Ratan Smriti Award, Hindi Academy's Sahityakar Samman, and many others. Welcome, Professor Divik Rameshji.
Thank you. Sonu, should I speak in English or in Hindi? So, okay. But I write in Hindi, so I would like to recite my poems in Hindi.
Poetry, but otherwise speak
speak in English before the exam.
Okay, that's fine. So I would heartily welcome the delegation from Russia. Of course, I'm already a great fan of mine, and a fellow poet, Anamika ji, is also there. Whenever I talk or think of Russia, I will always be in my childhood. That was the golden period when we used to get number of books. Number of books from Russia, and that too translated into Hindi. I still remember Pragati and Ramuda. We had EPH here in Delhi. New type of vision was given, even the literature of Russia had that idea. How we thought about the animals. Of course, you talk about the Panchtantra, and in Panchtantra, the stories carry animals with the content. But the Russian literature depicted in different ways, as a friend, as a part of your human life, etc. Now, of course, in Indian literature also you can find the same today. Then we read Gorky, Mayakovsky. Of course, academic Chelsea used to come here. My friend Alexander Senkevich translated a number of modern poets, including Bachchan, even me, and so many others. Chelsea introduced Nirala to Russians. We cannot forget Voronikov. Of course, junior Voronikov came here. Senior could not come, but he translated Ramcharitmanas that time. So, we owe a lot to Russian literature. Of course, Russia also, and Russian friends too. Fortunately, I visited Russia in 1998. And after coming back, I wrote a poem also against India in Russia. The title of the poem is. I was General Secretary of Indo-Russian Literary Club for a long time. The center is very much here. And that was a great forum where we used to talk about Russian literature as well as the Indian side. So, I am really very happy that today I am getting this opportunity to be with the Russian fellow authors. And that too, through the Sahitya Akademi. It's a great job you are doing. हिंदी में कविता सुनाऊंगा पहले, but before that I would like to present my book of my poems into English translation to all of you. I tell you what my names, first, second and third. कविता पृथ्वी है, शीर्षक है कविता का। कविता पृथ्वी है, जहां से शुरू होती है
है एक अच्छी कविता, जहां से शुरू होती है खत्म भी वही होती है एक अच्छी कविता। कविता पृथ्वी जो होती है, जिसका एक छोर मिला होता है हमेशा दूसरे छोर से। कितने ही बांटना चाहते हैं पृथ्वी को, कितने ही बांटना चाहते हैं पृथ्वी को, कितने ही खींचते रहते हैं लकीरें, डालते रहते हैं दरारें, लेकिन नहीं कर पाते अलग पृथ्वी के एक छोर को दूसरे से। लहूलुहान होकर भी जैसे कविता कविता रहती है आत्मा से। लहूलुहान होकर भी जैसे कविता कविता रहती है आत्मा सी। कहाँ बांट पाते हैं उसे बारूद, बंदूकें, तोपें, तलवारें, तीर या चाकू, दुनिया भर के बांटने वाले खुद भटकर रह जाते हैं। यह पृथ्वी ही है, यह पृथ्वी ही है जो टुकड़ा टुकड़ा होकर भी पृथ्वी ही रहती है। ठीक वैसे ही जैसे कविता हर कविता होती है। कविता जहां से शुरू होती है खत्म भी वही होती है, उसमें घर जो होता है हर उत्कृष्ट इंसान का। ठीक वैसे ही जैसे पृथ्वी अंततः घर होती है हर उत्कृष्ट इंसान का। I think I am not alone if I think about the war situation in the world. I am not going to give any conclusion about it, but at least nobody likes that war should happen. कविता है बच्चे का युद्ध, वॉर ऑफ चाइल्ड। अखबार न मिले तो नहीं निकला जाता नाश्ता। अखबार न मिले तो नहीं निकला जाता नाश्ता भी। किसी भी वक्त छिड़ सकता है युद्ध, स्वेटर बुनने में व्यस्त वक्तियों का। शरीर की तमाम हरकतों को रोककर बच्चे ने पूछा, युद्ध क्या होता है पापा? चाइल्ड आस्क्ड, व्हाट इज वॉर? शरीर की तमाम हरकतों को रोककर बच्चे ने पूछा, युद्ध क्या होता है पापा? युद्ध लड़ाई होती है बेटे। दो देश लड़ते हैं जब आपस में, युद्ध होता है। कहा मैंने जो भी सोचा। लड़ाई जैसे आप और माँ में होती है कभी कभी, war as it happens between mummy and father sometimes. लड़ाई जैसे आप और माँ में होती है कभी कभी। देखा घर निकल गया था शायद, पत्नी डाल रही थी सलाई में। देखा घर निकल गया था शायद, पत्नी डाल रही थी सलाई में। खून का गोला पास उठा लाया था बच्चा। मैंने हंसकर कहा, हाँ कुछ यूं ही समझो। लगा बच्चा पतझड़ में पेड़ सा झड़ गया। क्या सचमुच युद्ध आप और मां की लड़ाई जैसा होता है? Is it really between mother and नहीं, उससे बड़ा होता है। कहा और चुप हो गया। तब तो नहीं पकता होगा खाना घर में। तब तो नहीं पकता होगा खाना घर में, नहीं सुनता होगा कोई भी बच्चों की, नहीं कराता होगा होमवर्क भी, भूल जाते होंगे सब दूध गर्म करना, नहीं सुनाता होगा कोई कहानी भी, भूल जाते होंगे उन्हें चूमना भी, सो जाते होंगे बच्चे खुद ही सुबह सुबह कभी। पापा लड़ाई क्यों होती है और युद्ध में? एक कविता और really I am very, my situation is very embarrassing, you know. Actually, when I visited Moscow in 1998, what I had heard about, what I had read about Russia, it was a little different to get. But please allow me to read out this poem. It's not against any country, it's not against for any country, but how an author or a poet conceive in the changed situation.
1988 was a very difficult period in the history of Russia. It was the most breaking epoch.
We have read the history of Russia, you know, and there were so many books how to overcome with the situations, with so many evils in the society, to the jar and so on and so forth. Anyway, my friend Jankishanji has given me a rough translation of this poem, but anyway, I am Sonu. Later on you can tell what I have depicted or maybe Rabindra जी. रूस में ऐसे भारत के खिलाफ, रूस में ऐसे भारत के खिलाफ,
रूस में
ऐसे भारत के खिलाफ, against such India in Russia. एक बच्चे का किसी की कमीज खींचकर आंखों के कटोरे आगे कर देना और अंगूठे उंगलियों को मोड़कर ग्रास पकड़ने की मुद्रा में होठों के पास ले आना एक सामान्य, यहाँ तक कि दुत्कारने लायक कहा जाएगा दृश्य एक भारतीय की आंखों में, जो कि मैं, लेकिन बहुत दर्दनाक ही नहीं, अफसोसनाक भी लगा था वह दृश्य जो रेड स्क्वायर की राह पर आज मेरे अनुभव के हिस्से आ रहा था। मेरे रूसी मित्र की आंखों में छिपाने के बावजूद बाहर निकलता एक पछतावा था और भारत के अनुभवी उसके होठों ने केवल यह कहकर खुद को बचाया था, भारत ही की तरह हो गया है ना रूस। उस कठिन सामने पर मैं हल्का कुछ औपचारिक भी मुस्कुरा भर दिया था। सोचा क्या कहता मेरा मित्र यदि सामने होता कोई अमेरिकी या मुझ पर छा चुकी थी जो गहरी उदासी, उससे उदास होना चाहिए था मुझे बेशक, पर पाया कह रहा था इतना भर, तब तो तब भी सफाई तो बहुत है मास्को की सड़कों पर आज भी मेरे देश में तो, पर शायद मेरे मकसद पर पानी फेरते हुए उसने नहीं लौटने दी खुशी की एक सिहरन भी अपने चेहरे पर। हालांकि थोड़ी जगह ढूंढते मुझ में वह हंस जरूर रहा था और कभी कभी जोर से भी। सोचा ये अजीब चेहरा मेरे मित्र का है या पूरे शहर का। 7 बहनों में से किसी एक seven sisters. Seven buildings are known as seven sisters in Moscow. सात बहनों में से किसी एक ऊंची इमारत को देखते हुए मैंने चाहा कि प्रसंग थोड़ा बदल दिया जाए। मुझे थोड़ा अच्छा लगा कि अब हम क्रेमलिन में थे और एक विशाल घंटे के पास खड़े थे जिसका एक टुकड़ा टूटा पड़ा था और जिसे देखते देखते कई साल पहले की सी मेरे मित्र की आंखों में चमक लौट गई। मैंने सुना और ये आवाज मेरे मित्र ही की थी। जार ने अपने गर्व की पुष्टि के लिए ऊंचे से ऊंचे रखना चाहा था साबुत का साबुत यह विशाल घंटा, लेकिन टूट गया। जैसे टूट गया वो गर्व ही जार का। यकीनन थोड़ा भ्रमित था मैं। एक बार फिर पक्का कर लेना चाहता था, हालांकि रोक लिया किसी संकोच ने कि जार के गर्व की ही बात की थी ना उसने। मुझे लगातार लग रहा था जो संवाद हम करना चाह रहे थे असल में हो नहीं पा रहा और हम बस समय बिता रहे थे जिसमें हो जानी चाहिए थी कुछ बातें भी भले ही संदर्भ से टूटी छिपी सो हो रही थी। भीतर सड़कों का आना जाना जबकि जारी था, संदेह की तरह और हमें जोड़े रखने वाला कोई भी सूत्र हमारी लाचारी था। आखिर सवाल की तरह मैंने पूछा, फिर भी आप क्या सोचते हो? कुछ कुछ उबरते हुए कहा उसने, यही वह सवाल है जिसमें फिलहाल रूसी नहीं सोचा। दुकान सामने थी। पूछा दोस्त ने, आप वोदका तो नहीं पिएंगे ना? दुकान सामने थी। The shop was in front of them. And my friend, Russian friend, asked me, "You will not drink vodka?" आजकल मुझे तो मना है। He had left drinking vodka by that time. जाहिर था जिस निमंत्रण में नहीं शब्द आ जाए उसे स्वीकारना हिमाकत ही होती।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर देवी कृदेश। Now I request Professor Abhay Mauryaji to share his views as well as conclude the session. Professor Abhay Mauryaji is an eminent scholar and had been a professor of Russian literature at Delhi University. He is the author of 15 books, both scholarly and creative, and has more than 50 research papers published in India and abroad. Professor Mauryaji has been a member, Presidium, International Association of Teachers of Russian Language and Literature, Associate Member, Folklore Fellows, Finnish Academy, Science and Letters, Helsinki, Finland, Vice President, International Federation of World Languages and Literatures. He was awarded with A.S. Pushkin Medal, the highest honor in the field of Russian language, Haryana Gaurav Samman, and Sardar Hashmi Samman. Presently, he is Professor Emeritus of the Russian State Specialized Academy of Arts, Moscow. Professor Abhay Mauryaji.
Thank you. Dear friends, Mr. Kuznetsov, Anastasia Drokina, Zarina Kankova, Daria Uzina, Yulia Araeva, the Secretary Embassy of Russia in India, my very dear friends from Delhi University and renowned figures, Namika ji and Devi Ganesh ji and friends. Well, I will, in broad terms, say a few words about India and Russia. You know, Russia is demonized these days in the foreign media and as well as in Indian media, visibly by whatever the West dishes out to us. We Russis are those who have studied Russian and teach Russian, etc. They are called Russists. We feel very, very bad about this because we know reality is something different. But a layman in the street would see a site like Dirikji has related and will be swayed by it. One needs to go deeper into things. Russia, as you know, is the largest country in terms of area. It's a very rich country. Whole of Siberia is floating on gas and oil, and if I may say so, gold. There are areas where the footprints of man have not even reached as yet, and they are thinking of defeating such a Russia. Russia is fathomless, and I would like to come to use a word which is used in Russia, Russkaya dusha. Now it's very difficult to translate this word, dusha. Some people, in English I'll not even try, but in Hindi there is man, there are man. या आत्मा, ये दोनों का combination of both is difficult to translate. The Russian dusha is so deep. You will not find a Russian gossiping about somebody else in a very non-serious manner. They are brought up on Russian literature. There is not a single Russian, at least there used to be not a single Russian who had not read Pushkin's fables, who had not read other literary works, and that's why there is a depth in their character. They are not shallow. Now coming back to India and Russia, you know, I had written a paper titled Indian-Russian Literary Mutuality, and it's a longish paper, right from the beginning of our relations. I have traced how these ties developed. In literature, in comparative literature, there is a term called borrowing. Who borrows in literature? And can somebody borrow in literature? A borrower is generally, borrower is termed considered to be a deficient side or side which is not rich enough. That borrows. But you would be surprised in 19th century, it is Russian literature which borrowed Indian motifs from Indian literature, not other way around. Russian literature was not shallower or weaker in any which way, whereas our literature was dominant because of the colonial rule in 19th century. It is in 1888 that Nal Damayanti was translated into Russian by an eminent poet Zhukovsky, and from there taking inspiration from the Indian motifs, many poets like Afanasi Fair or others wrote poems, inspired poems based on Indian motifs. I don't know how it happened. They were so much in love with Indian motifs. Russian in general. When I was a student in Moscow, people would stop me on the way. Are you from India? Yeah. I said, yes. Oh, we love India. We love Indian chai. You won't hear this kind of thing anywhere in the world. I have traveled to almost 30 countries in the world. I have never heard these words as this. So we have to be little take this what is being said these days with a pinch of salt. The tragedy is that somebody you can guess who had made two brothers fight, had made two Slav brothers bleed because they want to have their hegemony. They want to sell their gas. They want to be the masters of the world. And Russia has challenged this, has dared to challenge it. And Russia is being demonized precisely for this reason. And I'm very happy that even during these difficult days, delegations are coming from Russia to India. And this is not the only delegation. Recently I saw a folk performance by a very Russian troupe in Kamini, that's where also.
Come on.
Even during these difficult, Russian cultural troops are coming to India. India is now #1 country in the mind of Russians. They have tried to. I remember in 1992, 93, I was in Moscow doing a fellowship in Moscow State University, and there was a minister, deputy minister, Unadze, who said, I see the clip on the TV, and he was speaking. Kunadze is not Russian, by the way. Kunadze is Georgian. But he was saying, oh, in the olden time we needed India for Cold War purposes. Now we don't need. We have very good relations with the West. And suddenly from my mouth came, Bagaji, Bakavam, Nidadut Pacheri. It's difficult to translate. Wait till they give you, till they show their real salary. And my Russian friends were saying, how do you know such word like cherry is not a very common word. Bagaji, Bakavam, Nidadut Pacheri. That's what happened. And that's why Russia is looking to India again. It never turned its back on somebody. Some people like Kunadze might have done, but most Russians. You remember the film Pardesi? It was about the journey which a Russian traveler Afanasy Nikitin undertook to Russia to India in the 16th century, and there is a book called called Journey Beyond Three Seas. So Russians were always trying to reach India in various ways and try to find out Indian Dusha. How is Indian Dusha like? This we should not forget. This we should always remember. That these are two countries which have Dusha, which are almost same time. But there are people who demonize. These are passing times. This phase will be over. And what I am happy about, that Putin in recent addresses said that we are now to look only east. Close the Iron Curtain is there between West and Russia. And now all doors are open to India, and hopefully there will be times when this will be a formidable force of friends, not of foes, not against anybody, but we cherish, we as Russians, as I said, most of us feel in our heart of hearts that this war should end, as we are going for war, and it will end. And only pray that Russia should never be defeated, and it will never be defeated.
Finally, I heartily thank all for this wonderful wonderful experience, and I invite you all to have a cup of tea together. Thank you.